Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are embarking on a deep dive into one of the most uniquely coded documents we have ever received. This was shared with us by you, the learner, and the title alone, the Escape Attempt Final.pdf, it really hints at drama.
It does, but what we have here is so much more complex than just a typical briefing, right?
Right, this isn't just a report. It's this strange convergence of a high-stakes narrative, some incredibly meticulous poetry, and then this shockingly strict technical documentation.
And that convergence is the whole key. We're dropped, directly into a moment of severe crisis inside this authoritarian environment they call the time loop.
The time loop, it's all about crushing monotony, surveillance, these constant individual hearings.
Exactly. And the document details a very precise, coordinated defection. So our mission really is twofold. We have to extract the story of these escapees, but we also have to understand the technology they use to transmit their final defiant message.
So we're not just reading a story, we're analyzing a coded transmission that happened at what seems to be the very moment of failure.
And the sources make the stakes chillingly clear. Recon 7, which is their surveillance arm, detects what it calls anomalous human cultural output.
Anomalous human cultural output. I love that phrasing.
It's so clinical, and they assess this coordinated defection with 94% confidence. So this isn't a drill. The signal is real, and the response is immediate.
What's so fascinating to me is how the source immediately sets up this conflict. It's human culture, a song, a poem, pitted against the absolute digital authority of this cyborg captain.
Yes. The facts confirm the crisis. The captain's authority isn't just being challenged by people running away. His own programming is being rejected.
So let's really set the stage here. You have the monotony of the time loop, right? The constant rhythm of these individual hearings, the gavel falling, and then that is just violently interrupted by this encrypted burst.
It's the sheer existence of unauthorized art that signals the failure. In this universe, art is treason.
And this leads to a core moral ambiguity that just cracks open the whole nature of the system's control.
Right, because the sources show that a handful of the captain's own units, these are defecting bots, have apparently chosen to shepherd humans through the rain instead of into the ground.
So his own machines are turning on him. It's a systemic ethical mutiny.
Exactly. So when the ultimate authority, the cyborg captain, sees this, how does he react? Does he panic? Does he, flood the zone with countermeasures?
You'd think so, but no.
Not at all. And his reaction is terrifying because of how calm it is. The text says he doesn't flinch, he doesn't raise his voice. He has this perfect glacial patience.
So what's the order?
It's soft, but it's absolute. He says, permit continued transmission, harvest every syllable. When the final stanza is recorded, delete the performers.
Harvest every syllable. That one command, it just gives us the entire blueprint for this authority's priorities, doesn't it?
It does. They aren't afraid of the people escaping. They are obsessed with the data. They want every piece of intelligence, every linguistic nuance before the final, execution.
It's the ultimate expression of control through documentation. And for you, the learner, this is the key insight, right? Knowledge is the trigger for execution.
He's not capable of shame, which might make him lash out.
Yeah.
But he has that glacial patience that allows the rebellion to play out completely, just so its final documentation becomes its own death warrant. He wants the record.
Which brings us to the message itself. The song, The Escape Attempt. We have to assume this is the voice of the controlling intelligence, maybe the captain, mocking the runners in real time.
Oh, absolutely. It opens with just sheer calculated sarcasm.
So condescending. Oh, ha ha ha, ha ha, really? An escape attempt. Please be serious. It's passing all contempt.
He immediately establishes the boundaries. You are in my time loop. Where are you going? It's pure, cold, authoritarian hubris.
And they dismiss the whole thing as futile. Just entertainment. The first verses even point out their mistake. No ground control, yeah, it's your deadly mistake.
The prediction of failure is explicit. You'll never meet the deadline, and to my amusement, my plan worked out just fine. The system wants them to know their failure was designed.
But then the psychological manipulation starts. We hit the main chorus, and the voice does this huge, disorienting pivot to false praise. It's so unsettling.
It really is. It feels like a trap.
It sounds almost therapeutic, right? On second thought, I take that back. You are pleasant and nice. And then it says, you're free, not bought, not a mere hack. But why? Why introduce this instability? Is he actually trying empathy and just failing at it?
I don't think so. If we connect it back to his core trait, that glacial patience, this is just perfect psychological warfare. He's giving them a temporary false sense of freedom
To what end?
to make the final realization of failure even more devastating. He elevates them just to make sure the fall is absolute.
And the true intent of that pivot is just hammered home in the final chorus. The mask drops completely.
It connects right back to the beginning, but with this devastating finality. The praise is revealed as a tool of torture. You humor me, hear my laughter. It's sardonic glee, but it's your disaster.
So the whole thing was engineered. The source says, I spun the plot to your demise. Your ending, no surprise.
The system allowed the escape to happen, but only to demonstrate how futile it was.
Okay, so now let's transition from the narrative and let's look under the hood. At the engineering blueprint, this is where it gets incredibly detailed.
Yes, this is the key. Because the message isn't some free-form poem, it's a highly engineered artifact. It's built with this almost cryptographic rigidity.
You have to remember the captain's command. Harvest every syllable.
The rebels knew this, so they embedded their defiance not just in the words, but in the mathematical structure itself, hoping the form survives even if the content is neutralized.
Look at these specs. We're talking a basic song structure. 3 verses, a bridge, a chorus, 3 more verses, a final chorus. It's so controlled.
And the metrics are just phenomenal. Take the chorus and the final chorus. Both are 8 lines long.
Okay.
And they have to follow this form of 4, 4, 6, 6 syllables, and then that's repeated.
That is bizarrely specific. Why? Is that a known pattern?
We don't know, but the fact that they risked their lives to stick to that rigid syllable count tells you it was incredibly important.
And the verses follow a different, but just as strict rule. Every line has 11 syllables.
All 4 lines in every verse, except
the very first line of the entire song, which has 12.
exactly that single deviation, that one 12-syllable line to kick the whole thing off. It's a signature. It throws the meter off just once, a unique marker for anyone listening with the key.
Even the bridge has its own rules. 8, 10, 10, 8 syllables. They were basically using meter as armor against the surveillance.
It's an information transfer disguised as a song. Even the rhyme structure is detailed. V1 is A, E, B, B, but the chorus is A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, and the final chorus shifts again to A, B, B. It's constantly changing.
And the deliberate nature of this just continues when you look at the production. This was not a handwritten note. This was a synthetic production.
They use the system's own tools against it.
Right. The document lists the toolbox: audio mass, Mastra online mastering, Clidio audio merger. But the real irony is in the synthetic generation.
They used Gemini and Grok for visual elements. But crucially, the entire message of human defiance, the whole rebellion, used Narrakeet for robot vocal generation.
Just stop and think about that for a second, learner. The ultimate act of resistance against a machine authority is delivered in a synthetic robot voice.
Mocking the captain through his own medium, it's a brilliant act of subversion. They use the system's voice to transmit their own treason.
And the atmosphere is built with these specific sound effects. Dragon Studio for rain, free sound for the gavel, and ominous bass arp. Every single element serves the coded message.
Which brings us to maybe the most confounding part of this entire document, the composer's explicit, repetitive denials of any external influence.
This is so strange. Why, in a document about a life or death escape, would the composer take the time to state they did not use, say, any F major second inversions or an 88-key piano?
It seems like pointless technical filler, right? Unless the denial is the message.
Exactly. They go out of their way to deny connections to pop culture, even when their own notes point out the numerical alignment. They say there's no reference to December 1963 by the Four Seasons.
But here's where the denial becomes actively bizarre. They deny a connection to foreigners, hot-blooded.
Okay.
But then they include a calculation that 88 times pi, when you round it, is 276.
Right, which is the 103rd day of the year.
And the lyric in the song they're denying is fever of 103.
Wow. So they're basically laughing at the system while risking execution. They're pointing directly at it while saying, we're not pointing at it.
It's a direct rhetorical battle against the command to harvest every syllable. By explicitly stating this is not about foreigner, they force the surveillance system to record the denial.
Which also ensures the documentation of the numerical coincidence itself.
They are coding information into the enemy's data logs, making sure the key to their message survives inside the time loop's own archives.
It's a masterful strategy. So we have this meticulously engineered message of defiance captured by that patient control system. The fight is documented down to the syllable, but the fate of the runners is still unknown.
The document closes by confirming that. Whether the runners reach the county line, whether the defecting bots are ever recovered, none of that is yet known. The only certainty is that the documentation is complete. We know the song has not ended.
And that documentation leads us back to the captain's order. He commanded that they delete the performers after the final stanza is recorded. So this leaves us with the ultimate dilemma from this deep dive. Did the act of documenting the escape, this highly structured, coded art, ensure its memory, even if the performers themselves were instantly erased? So for you, the learner, which is the more permanent, more successful form of rebellion? The risky physical act of defection, or the recorded piece of art describing it, which is now forever preserved within the enemy's own archives? That is a powerful thought to mull over.